Hey, I am so excited to be working together. This is such a fun and exciting thing, and I feel so incredibly blessed to be able to help you find your dream home. So, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. Today, I wanted to go over the very first piece of paperwork that you're going to see. This is going to be what we're going to need to sign before we start doing our house hunting just for legal purposes. This is called the Exclusive Buyer Broker Agreement and Agency Disclosure, which you will probably hear me refer to as the Buyer Broker Agreement. It's a lot easier to say, it's not as much of a mouthful. So let's just get into it so that you're familiar with it and you know what's going on. This top part just says this exclusive buyer broker agreement and agency disclosure is being entered between my brokerage, me, and you guys as the buyer. So we're just going to fill your name in right there. Just so that you know, there are two ways that we can fill out every contract. We can either do them electronically or we can do them in person with pens and wet ink. We'll always decide what's going to be best for each contract and each set of paperwork. So anyways, I just wanted to make you aware of that. If we go down to number 1, where it says term of agreement, this is just stating that I will be your realtor, and we're going to want to put down a date in this section. So this date is the date that we want this contract to expire if for some reason we do not close on a home prior to this date. So typically, I like to put down a year. My clients have found that that's been really beneficial. The reason for a year is just, God forbid that something ends up happening with your job, or there's a health concern, or the market's in a spot that you guys aren't comfortable with. We're able to put things on hold, but still be in an agreement just in the case that like something pops up that you want to see, we can go look at it, or things are starting to look really good again. We can pick right back up where we left off and not have to go through all this again. That's what my clients have liked. If you're comfortable with it, we'll probably just put down a year. But anyways, that's that first part. This also goes over the counties that we're going to be looking for homes in. So say that you're wanting to look in like Layton and you're also wanting to look in Logan and North Ogden. We can put down Davis County, Cache County, Weber County. If at any point in time you're wanting to look at a home outside of what we put on this contract, totally fine. Not an issue at all. I'm willing to go anywhere and everywhere that you were wanting to see a home. So this is just kind of to give us an idea and to have something on paper. But I'm willing to go anywhere you're wanting to go. If we go down to number 2, brokerage fee, my brokerage likes to see me put down 3% for a commission, but let me tell you something that you may not know. You guys as the buyers actually do not pay for me to help you find a home. It is the sellers that pay for me to help you guys out. So if at any point we're looking at a home and we end up going under contract and the seller's only offering me, let's say 2%, 2.5%, I want you to know that I am never going to come after you for that extra percentage or whatever is left of that percentage. I will take whatever the sellers are offering me and be super happy and grateful that I was able to help you through this process. So don't even worry about the brokerage fee. It's all going to be taken care of. That's just something that I wanted you to be aware of. Do not be scared of the 3%. Just don't even worry about anything in this section. 3, protection period. This is the part that I always pray never happens. But if something goes wrong and you guys end up wanting to fire me, I'm going to be so sad, but I will never force you to work with me. But something to be aware of. If there is a home that I show you and then you end up getting another real estate agent to help you, if you go back to a home that I showed you and you buy it within 3 months after seeing it, after I showed you the home, then my brokerage is going to go after you for that commission because I was the one that introduced you to the home. I was the one that did that work. So just be aware of that. It's not something I'm too worried about though. 4, buyer representation and disclosures. This just states that I represent you. I'm going to protect you, defend you, do every single thing I can to represent you to the very best of my abilities. The disclosure part of that just states that I am not ever going to tell anybody anything that you are not wanting them to know. So if at any point the sellers are asking me a question that you guys have not disclosed I can tell anybody about, I am not ever going to say anything to anyone. I am here for you, to help you, to represent you. You are my number one priority, my number one concern. So don't ever worry about anybody knowing anything that you're not wanting them to know. 5, agency relationships. 5.1 just states that I do in fact have duties to you guys. I do have responsibilities to you as your real estate agent. So I do have to follow these things called fiduciary duties. Those include loyalty, obedience, full disclosure, confidentiality, reasonable care, and a code of ethics and laws. I'm going to do my job to make sure that I am doing the very best that I can for you guys and fulfilling my roles as a realtor. 5.2, duties of a limited agent. That's not something that we should have to worry about. If it is something we do need to talk about, I will talk to you individually, make sure that you understand what that is. But basically, that's just there in the case that there's a home that is listed where I'm representing the sellers and you guys are wanting to buy it, so I have to represent you as the buyers. We'll go over what that would look like. Then at the bottom of this page, there's a spot that says buyer's initials and the date. At the end of every single page of any contract that we fill out, there's a spot for you to initial and date, so just get used to it. It's a lot, I know. If you fill this out electronically, when you sign it, it will automatically date it, so you don't need to worry about that. If we do this with pens, you'll just initial, date, and that's that. So if we go down to 6 where it says professional advice, this just states that I am not allowed to give you any type of advice in any field that I am not licensed in. So if there is a plumbing concern, you're not sure about the foundation, maybe there's some electrical concerns there, I am not allowed to legally give you any type of advice on that. You're going to want to make sure that you get a professional in there to look at it. But that's that. If we go down to 7, my bad. If we go down to 7 where it says dispute resolution and 8 attorney fees and governing laws, we're just going to cover that in one. So if this does end up, let me back up. If something ends up going wrong and we need to go to mediation or court, all that 7 and 8 are stating is that whoever comes out on the bottom has to pay the fees for whoever comes out on top. So be aware of that. I'll walk you through everything if we get to that point, but let's just make sure that we're following what we need to. We're in line with our deadlines. Everything's okay on our end. Fingers crossed nothing goes wrong. If we go down to buyer authorization, this is basically you just consenting that when the home is sold, you are giving the okay for all that information to be updated. The sales price is going to be listed. I mean, it's just all the legal stuff that happens when you buy a home. This type of stuff is updated. So that is that section. 10, attachments. This is probably not something that you will have to worry about, but if it is, again, I will talk to you individually. If there are any attachments that need to be made to this document, this contract, we'll figure it out and we'll check are, but typically we just check the box are not. 11, equal housing opportunity. We do not discriminate against any of the protected classes. 12, electronic transmission and counterparts. In this day and age, we are very fortunate enough that an electronic signature is just as good as an ink one. So be aware of that. We can do anything electronically. It's very nice. At the bottom of this page, you'll just initial and date. Next page, due on sale. Again, probably not something that you'll have to worry about. This has to do with seller financing. If this does apply to you in your specific situation, we'll talk about it, go over what that looks like, but you shouldn't have to worry about this. 14 just states that you agree to everything in the entire contract. You agree entirely. And then 15, this contract is effective from the day that all of this is signed. So if you feel comfortable with all of that, as soon as we answer any questions, go over any type of concerns, you're going to sign where it says buyer signature. You're going to list down your address and your phone number as well as the date. If I have your phone number, you don't need to list it again. I really just need the address for any future contracts and things that we fill out. If there's 2 of you, you'll fill out those lines. And then accepted by the company, that's where I will sign it, date it. You guys will initial at the bottom and date it. And that's it. That is the overview of the exclusive buyer-broker agreement and agency disclosure. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. And thank you for sitting through letting me explain that to you. I know it's not the most fun, but at least we're done. And now we are all good to start looking at any and every home that you are wanting to. So I am super excited.